Welcome to Cinema 101, the show where we break down the technical aspects of movies from the first moving pictures to the giant screens we watch today. Cinema has come a long way. In this series, we explore how it all started, how the technology evolved, and how every little invention shaped the way we experience movies now. Cameras, projectors, screens, film formats. If it built cinema, we will talk about it. Simple explanations, clear visuals, and a lot of curiosity. ये है Cinema 101, where we discover how cinema became cinema.
Welcome to the first episode of Cinema 101, and this is a film. A strip of plastic that changed entertainment forever. Technically, it is called a film gauge, which means the physical width of the film. These strips move vertically through a camera or a projector, and the light shining through each frame creates motion. That flicker is what built cinema. The earliest films were in black and white, under a minute long, without recorded sound, and consisted of a single shot from a steady camera. Cinema was really different in the early times. Film format shaped the way movies were made and seen. They influenced storytelling, visual trends, and even acting approaches. Every evolution was a milestone in how humans captured reality. It wasn't born perfect. It evolved, it transformed, survived experimentations, wars, Hollywood rivalries, tech revolutions, and one digital apocalypse. Film gauge is literally the width of the reel. That's it. But that one measurement decides almost everything. A wider gauge gives you more detail and more clarity, more dynamic range, more sharpness. But it also gives you bigger cameras, heavier equipments, and more expensive production. The most common gauges are 8mm, 16mm, 35mm, 65 or 70mm. In the case of 65 and 70mm, the 65mm is what runs inside the camera. The 70mm print is what goes into the projector. The extra 5mm carried the magnetic soundtrack. It was basically Dolby Atmos ka dadaji. The story of film formats is basically the biography of cinema itself. Invention in the 1800s, standardization in 1920s and the 30s, the widescreen wars of the 50s and 60s, the rise of giant formats in 70s and 90s, and then the great digital takeover in the 2000s. The early days filmmakers were experimenting with everything. Formats like 9.51mm were popular. Some went tiny like 3mm, some went monstrous like 75mm. Before all that chaos, someone had to ask the basic questions. How do you even capture motion? The 1880s were the scientific, nerdy, experimental phase of cinema. This is where inventors were not thinking about blockbuster movies. They were thinking about science and movement. This French scientist created the chronograph, a large 90mm system used to study motion. The camera literally looked like a rifle. You held it like a gun and shot pictures. It captured about 12 frames per second, which was revolutionary for its time. Meanwhile, inventors like William Green, Thomas Edison, and W.K.L. Dixon were trying different shapes, different mechanisms, and different film materials. Some of them were overlooked by the historians and didn't recognize until recently. Some were just deep into research and development and contributed their soul and heart and sweat into the foundation of cinema. Some tried cylinders like rotating drums, others tried strips that moved like clock gears. Imagine a science fair where every group comes up with its own version of motion machine. That was filmmaking in 1880s. These inventors were arguing about things that feel basic to us today. What should be the ideal width of the film? How many holes should be on each side? How fast the film move? Should the camera crank manually or automatically? Everyone had an idea. Most of them failed. But from the chaos, something stable finally emerged. 35mm. By 1895, the Lumiere brothers stepped into the game with the cinematograph or cinematography, जो भी बोलते हैं. Their machine could record, print and project film. तीनों चीज एक साथ. It was portable, beautifully engineered and easy to use. The format used 35mm film with 4 perforations per frame. It was clean, consistent and practical. The combination of their camera and the 35mm format became unbeatable. The Lumiere company produced over 1400 short films covering a wide variety of subjects like daily life, industry, travel, military parades and exotic locations. These films were known as actualities, early precursors to newsreels and documentaries. Inventors worldwide saw its reliability and slowly adopted it. Thomas Alva Edison, naam to suna hoga, is considered the greatest inventor of, responsible for over 1,000 different patents. Thomas Edison and his company's official photographer William Dixon made the kinetoscope. which was a historical benchmark in motion picture development. By 1900s, 35mm was the king of film gauges, and for more than 100 years, 35mm became the backbone of film industry. Almost every classic you know is 35. It was a perfect balance between quality and practicality. The 1920s brought stability. Cinema became a business. Studio needed reliable formats, consistent image sizes, and practical workflows. In 1923, Kodak introduced 16mm film. इसको 35 को काट के दो 16 कर दिया. This was meant for educational home videos, documentaries, and indie filmmaking. It was cheaper, lighter, and easier. Schools used it. News reporters used it. Family used it to record birthdays and holidays. This was a true democratization of filmmaking. In 1932, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science defined the Academy ratio of 35mm film. This was the default shape for cinema for decades. Almost every black and white Hollywood classics used this ratio. Standardization allowed cameras, lenses, projectors, and theaters to sync with each other. Cinema became more organized, more professional, and more ambitious. Then came the villain of the story. After the World Wars in 1950s, people started staying home and watching TV. Hollywood just panicked. Theater attendance dropped. The film industry needed a weapon, something bigger, something wider, something TV could never match. And so began the widescreen war. In 1952, Cinerama was introduced. It used 3 synchronized 35mm cameras shooting side by side to create one huge panoramic image. The photographic system used 3 interlocked 35mm cameras equipped with 25mm lenses, approximately the focal length of the human eye. Human eye जितना देख सकता उतना बड़ा screen था वो. Each camera photographed 1/3 of the picture, shooting in a crisscross pattern. The right camera shooting on the left part of the image, the left camera shooting on the right part of the image, and the center camera shooting straight ahead. The projection also used 3 projectors on the massive curved screen. The experience was insane, but the process was complicated, expensive, and impractical. In 1953, CinemaScope was introduced. It used something called anamorphic lenses to squeeze a wide image onto a regular 35mm film. During projection, the lens is unsqueezed to create a super wide frame. Usually 2.35:1. It is so wide. Look at this. No extra cameras, just beautiful wide cinema. Movies like Ben-Hur and Cleopatra became spectacles using the CinemaScope. Just like Xerox, CinemaScope became so popular that its wide letterboxed look burnt itself into the pop culture. As a result, many people still casually refer to the black bars on the top and the bottom of the screen as CinemaScope. Even though those bars are simply a byproduct of fitting a wider image into a narrower frame, not CinemaScope itself. Then came VistaVision from Paramount. Instead of running the 35mm film vertically, they ran it horizontally. This increased the image area and improved clarity dramatically. And the result of thinking out of the box, years later, VistaVision became the standard for VFX plates. Star Wars used it, Indiana Jones used it, even modern Marvel movies have used VistaVision styled in their digital workflows. अभी आजकल हम लोगों को VistaVision सुनने नहीं मिलता है. It did not disappear. People just stopped talking about it. Just like Palpatine, it somehow returned. In 2024, the Brutalists brought VistaVision back, not as nostalgia, but as a serious creative choice that opened the doors for films like One Battle After Another and Bugonia. Even television stepped in. The upcoming entire 3rd season of Euphoria was shot in VistaVision. Netflix's upcoming Narnia film will be the first streaming service production to use VistaVision cameras. Imagine, bro, a format created in the 1950s to fight television is now shaping modern cinema and streaming. VistaVision did not make a comeback. It just waited. A format originally designed to save theaters is now being used for streaming audiences. That is the irony of cinema. If the 50s were about going wide, the 70s were about going huge. 70mm projection gave audiences clarity that looked unreal for the time. Films like Lawrence of Arabia, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and West Side Story showcased what 70mm could do. The image was smoother, sharper, and more immersive. Filmmakers experimented with different frame rates and film sizes. SureScan used 70 120mm film running at 60 frames per second, creating a super lifelike experience in theme parks. But it was not that successful, and it was just an experience in theme parks. Then came the monster. This format didn't just tweak film, it turned the entire strip sideways. 65mm film ran horizontally instead of vertically, unlocking a frame so massive it made 35mm look microscopic. Nearly 10 times the image area, unmatched detail. Every texture was so alive on projection. On projection, the experience changed completely. Screens weren't wide anymore. They were tall, towering, floor to ceiling. The image didn't fit in front of you. It surrounded your vision. It was like you could not see anything out of your peripheral vision except the screen. It was that big. At first, this wasn't even meant for movies. It lived in museums, science centers, documentaries, nature films, space missions, educational cinema. It was meant to feel real, not cinematic. And some great filmmakers saw the potential. Directors like Chris Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, and Jordan Peele realized wasn't a gimmick. It was a scale as storytelling, a way to make city panoramas, endless explosions feel dangerous and humans feel small inside vast worlds. These were the moments designed not to be watched but experienced. This format didn't just project films, it didn't fill screens, it defined the maximum image cinema could achieve. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, digital technology matured. Digital projectors became cheaper, faster, and more convenient. Editing shifted to computers, cameras became lighter, formats like 720p, 1080p, 2K, 4K, 8K. Digital had many advantages: no scratches, no dust, no expensive prints, instant playback, easier distribution, extremely stable color. By 2010, almost every theater transitioned to digital projection. Film formats became legacy technology used only for artistic preference. But even today, the charm of celluloid remains. Directors like Nolan, Peele, Tarantino, and Paul Thomas Anderson fight for film.
उन्होंने fresh print बनाया है. We have reversed the process. I'm wanting you to see the print just to check it. जब फिल्म मैंने देखी तो मेरी हवाइयां उड़ गई. It was looking golden. I was like, my God, this is film. हम लोग भूल चुके हैं कि जब फिल्म का सही काम होता है तो उसकी क्या, उसका इम्पैक्ट, उसका विजुअल इम्पैक्ट इतना खूबसूरत होता है.
I feel highly rewarding because film has that richness, this this incredible sense of depth and this color that I feel, honestly, I don't even know if digital has even now. So I'm partial to
From
film.
tiny 8mm home movies to giant 70mm IMAX frames, each gauge changed how cinema looked and felt. These strips of celluloid didn't just show images, they carried eras, memories, and entire evolution of visual storytelling. So that was the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. In the next video, we will explore how these formats actually reach the screen through projectors, the machines, the light, the lenses, and the engineering brilliance that turned film into cinema. Bye.